You don't have to stay in Australia. This is not normal.
Well, actually, mate, we do have to stay in Australia. We're Australians. Funny thing about that, this is our country. This is where we live. And, mate, that is pretty normal. I mean, that's just a carpet snake. I mean, admittedly, it's a pretty big carpet snake, but carpet snakes are pretty harmless. They're also legless, if you have a close look at them. But they're constrictors, mate. They're not venomous. Admittedly, in Australia, we do have some very venomous snakes, some very dangerous snakes. I mean, we have the top 11 of the world's most venomous snake, all come from Australia. But honestly, mate, if you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. We have a saying in Australia, you know, fuck around and find out. If you don't want to find out how dangerous something is, don't fuck around with it. Simple as that. But there is always one exception to the rule. And there is one snake in Australia that I'm pretty scared of, everyone's scared of. I mean, even Steve Irwin was scared of this snake. It's called a hoop snake. And most Australians will be able to tell you about a hoop snake. Hoop snakes are pretty dangerous. I'm actually in prime hoop snake territory at the moment. You'll notice I'm standing up on top of the ridge line. And this is very important. Whenever you come to Australia, always walk up on top of the ridges. Never walk down in the bottom of the valleys. Reason being, hoop snakes, they like to sit up on top of the ridges, just in like this perfect habitat here. You know, there's a bit of grass and a bit of trees on the side, and there's a nice smooth hill to actually get a roll down. And what they'll do is they'll sit up on the top of the ridge here, and they look down into the bottom of the valleys. And when they see some prey that they want to attack, like I don't know if you can see, but there's a couple of kangaroos down the bottom there. It's actually why I'm sitting up here. I'm actually having a look for a few hoop snakes, hoping there'll be a few around. But they'll sit up on top of the ridge line here, and when they see something they want to attack, they'll actually bite a hold of their tail and turn themselves into a hoop or a wheel, and actually roll down the hill. They pick up quite a bit of speed, quite a bit of momentum as they go down the hill. Just before they get to you, about 6 foot before they get to you, they actually burst open, they launch out. And if you're a human walking down there, they'll actually grab a hold of your neck or on your face, and they're pretty nasty things. They're pretty venomous. So you've got to watch out for them. So whenever you come to Australia, always make sure you're always walking up on top of the ridge lines, never down in the bottom of the valleys. You'll see a lot of the old timers, whenever they have to do some work down in the bottom of the valleys, they've always got to stick with them. One, because it helps them to walk, but also it's to do the old Allan Border pull shot, you know. As the hoop snake comes down and launches, you can just use the stick and just give the old pull shot and hit it for 6. But honestly, mate, other than that, Australia, it's not really that dangerous. I mean, seriously, I mean, we got snakes and spiders and sharks in Australia, just like you guys in the States. But we don't have things like grizzly bears, cougars, mountain lions, you know, Donald Trump, crazy guys with guns. We don't have that in Australia. But in Australia, you know, it's a pretty safe country. You hear that? Drop bear. Fuck. Run. I'm out of here. Anyway, ask any Aussie. They'll tell you.